On September 24, 2016, Tabita Cirvele disappeared without a trace from the house that she shared with her husband. Her final text message indicates that she was going to end the relationship with him and flee the very same night. But is that really how it went down? Or did Tabita leave the house that night with the goal to end her own life? This is a case that leaves many open questions. In today's video, we are trying to get to the bottom of this case and address some of these unanswered questions. Tabita Cirvele was born on Christmas Eve, 1967. She grew up in Riga, Latvia's capital. Not too many details are known about her family. The only thing we can say about her background is that she had a sister and that her father was sick. There is no information available about Tabita's mother. At some point, she immigrated to Germany together with her father and sister. The three of them lived in an apartment in Münster. However, sources provide conflicting information on the exact circumstances. Some claimed that Tabita came to Germany as a child. Others described how she was 30 already by the time she left Latvia. Tabita worked as a tailor. She didn't make too much money, but she had to take care of her father nevertheless, who was no longer able to work due to his illness. Money was always tight towards the end of the month, so the small family routinely had to spend their last euros to buy food. In 2012, Tabita's luck was changing. On a trip to a health resort, she met a significantly older man and fell in love with him. The man was financially very well off, and it's likely that he supported Tabita and her family with his money. At least financial problems are not mentioned anymore throughout the next few years. After only a few months, the pair got married and the two moved to Rude, Tyrol, to enjoy the sun and the countryside at their large estate. By that time, Tabita was 44 years old. During the next few years, she seemed to be happy, living the life that she always dreamed of, at a place where others go for vacation. She certainly appeared to enjoy the expensive house with all of the bells and whistles. But unfortunately, not everything was as great as it seemed, because Tabita's marriage with her husband was anything but happy. Time and time again, Tabita was affected by her husband's jealousy. There was nothing but arguing and heartache. Tabita was consistently being accused of cheating on her husband and having affairs. These claims were baseless. Despite of this toxic behavior, Tabita stayed with her husband and accepted the situation. Tabita's father's health continued to deteriorate. In January 2016, the then 40-year-old traveled to Münster to care for her father. Back and forth, she commuted between Tyrol and Münster. She wanted to be with her father as much as possible, because she didn't know how much time he would have left to live. Whenever she was in Germany, she usually stayed for a few days at a time. After all, Tyrol and Münster were almost 1,000 kilometers apart. During one of these trips in the spring, she met Thomas S. Thomas was German, lived in Münster and worked as an architect. The two happened to strike up a conversation and spent the next few days together. From now on, whenever Tabita visited her father, she also spent time with Thomas. And it didn't take long for what was initially a friendship to turn into a love relationship. Tabita really started an affair at that time. From that point forward, she went to Germany more often. Of course, her husband, who was already jealous, noticed that too. Tabita then started spending a lot of time on her cell phone, texting Thomas every day and often speaking to him on the phone. In a jealous rage, Tabita's husband began to look through her phone. It is unclear if that's how he found out about Thomas and became aware of the affair at that time. If he was, then it's not publicly known. Tabita also didn't say anything to Thomas about it. She just mentioned once that he suspected an affair. At some point, Tabita realized that she was not going to be able to keep up the secret life any longer. In the past, she had repeatedly expressed to her sister and her husband that she wanted to break from the relationship. A few days before she disappeared, the time had come. She mustered up all of her courage and told her husband that she wanted a divorce. A day before her disappearance, the amount of 2,200 euros was withdrawn from Tabita's and her husband's joint account. It is unclear which one of the two withdrew the money. Either way, Tabita's husband denies having anything to do with it. According to Thomas, Tabita was planning to leave Root and return to Münster on September 24th, to leave her own life behind once and for all. Once in Münster, her intentions were to make the arrangements for the divorce, so she could have a fresh start with Thomas. On September 23rd, around 11 PM, she sent a text message to Thomas saying everything's okay. Later that night, he received another message from her, which read, "Love is beautiful. It gives us the strength to face the impossible. Whoever experiences it is rich at heart, and we experience it together. I love you, Tommy." That was the last time he heard from Tabita. On the morning of September 24th, her cell pinged at the tower en route. Shortly after, it was turned off and never turned on again. This is the morning when Tabita Cirvele disappeared without a trace. But her husband didn't file a missing persons report until 2 weeks later. When asked the question why he waited so long to contact the police, he said that since Tabita wanted to break, he just assumed that that was the reason why Tabita hadn't been around. The possibility that Tabita went into hiding voluntarily was quickly dismissed by investigators, since there were no sightings or signs of life of the 48-year-old for the full 2 weeks. She also left her car behind, so if she had disappeared out of her own free will, she would have had to do so on foot. She did not even contact her sister or sick father. If she disappeared voluntarily, she would have most likely crashed with her own sister to get a break from her marriage, because the two had an extremely close relationship. The house owned by Tabita and her husband was searched, but the search did not turn up anything suspicious. The police hunted for clues by asking the public for help. Cadaver dogs were deployed and divers searched all of the nearby lakes and rivers. In 2018, after a feature on the case aired on the TV show Aktenzeichen XY, several witnesses came forward. They claimed to have seen Tabita, but these sightings didn't lead to anything, or they were cases of mistaken identity. Tabita Cirvele still remains missing as of today. The police assumes that Tabita either became the victim of a homicide, or that she planned her own suicide, but they also can fully exclude an accident. And these are all of the facts in the Tabita Cirvele case. Unfortunately, there isn't much room left for speculation. To me personally, the fact that 2,200 euros were taken out of the account is important. If Tabita's husband was the one withdrawing the money, this could be an indication that he has something to do with Tabita's disappearance, because that would imply that he lied to investigators, because to them he stated that he didn't take out the money. If Tabita was the one to withdraw the money, then that would be an indication that she may have planned her own disappearing act. A suicide doesn't make sense here, because why would she need money if she was planning to take her own life? To me, another important clue is the cell phone. If she really wanted some time off from their marriage, like she supposedly told her husband, what reason would she have had to turn off her phone? Wouldn't it have been useful for possible train connections, since she was not traveling by car, for messages with her sister, her father, and Thomas S? Or maybe she became the victim of a random crime. Maybe neither Tabita nor her husband were the ones to withdraw the money. Maybe she was blackmailed and killed afterwards. But then why only 2,200 euros and not more? And why didn't anybody see her? No matter how you look at it, there is still one question that we will probably never get answered. Where's Tabita Cirvele? And this brings us to the end of this video, which was a little bit on the shorter side. What do you think happened to Tabita? Was it her husband who killed her out of her jealousy? Or could there have been some kind of accident? Feel free to discuss this in the comment section. I hope that you enjoyed today's video. Please subscribe, give me a thumbs up or leave a comment. All it takes is a couple of clicks and keystrokes and you can support this channel tremendously. Also follow me on Instagram if you aren't doing it already. You can find the link in the video description. Thank you in advance. And also I appreciate you for watching. I'll see you again for the next video. Good night and see you soon.